young gallant doing this, but she has no problems with it. 67-year-old Maura Ward lives by the motto, feel the fear and do it anyway. Now, despite being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2013, she hasn't let it hold her back and instead has embraced her love of adventure.
Ticking ziplining and skydiving off her bucket list, this globe-trotting mum is a true inspiration. Maura joins us now to regale us with some of her many, many tales of her travels. Maura, good morning. You're very welcome to Ireland AM. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I was reading the notes about you last night, and the more I read, the more I was utterly in awe of you. Oh. I think you're remarkable, but can we go back to your diagnosis, because that was sort of the catalyst for the life you lead now.
Absolutely.
So everything was fine, everything was ticking along nicely, or did you think there were signs that something wasn't quite right? Yeah.
There were signs, there were definitely signs. There were little things like my shake, and I kept saying it's a trapped nerve, it's nothing to worry about, it's this, that and the other. But I avoided going to the GP.
And what about your family? Were they like, Mum, you need to get in there now?
Yeah, well, they noticed the shake, but they weren't really... I think they too were in a sort of denial. We all were together.
Were you in any pain?
None whatever. Wobbly, but not in pain.
Okay, and, you know, as somebody who's approaching very shortly his 6th decade, these things happen as you get to that age. So you're inclined to go, well, it's part and parcel of getting older.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But,
or is that more denial?
Well, for me it was, but I'm still in denial about getting old.
Good woman. We like it, Maura. But when you got the diagnosis, that must have been a bit of a hammer blow.
It was an awful shock. And I did social work and have done some work on grief. And I recognised about halfway through by dealing with it that I was having a grief reaction.
You were grieving for the life you should have been living.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so at what stage did you think, okay, well, I'm going to lead the life... Actually, you're probably leading a life now you wouldn't have lived if you hadn't been diagnosed with Parkinson in a bizarre way.
I'm leading the life I would have liked to have lived. I'm just rushing it through slightly.
Okay, so you're just fast-tracking through it.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And a lot of this has to do with your son as well.
A considerable amount. He encourages me as much as he can to travel, get up and travel. Except when it came to going to Afghanistan. World War III erupted. He felt he was responsible for my safety. I felt I'm perfectly able to take care of myself, thank you. And we came to an agreement that it would go anyway.
But now, Maura, I'm just looking at your itinerary over the last couple of years, and while obviously we all know about Afghanistan, but there's been a few other, dodgy is possibly a bit euphemistic, but these are areas of conflict and war-torn areas. Just quickly, Central Asia, South America, Chengdu and Tibet, North Africa, Afghanistan, but as part of that, you've been through Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. These are all, I mean, they're tough places to get to at the best of times.
They're worse now than they were when I went. Uzbekistan, Central Asia was in 2013, I think, and it wasn't as sort of in such trouble as it is now. But it was still there, I have to say. Yeah.
But did you travel on your own, Maura?
No, I was with Johnny there.
Okay, you were with Johnny then. Yeah. Okay, but you did do some trips on your own.
I was in Eritrea 2 weeks ago by myself.
Eritrea, and
war-torn Eritrea.
It's not actually. It's absolutely amazing. It has everything going for it apart from the government.
Well, you could say that a lot of African countries, unfortunately.
Yeah, but I mean, the Horn of Africa, Maura, has been in conflict for my entire lifetime. Yours as well. There's been a war of some sort going on there.
It's a bit like Ireland, isn't it? Yeah. You get two of them together in fact. Yes, I suppose so. But if you take the north of Ireland, where I was brought up, I remember the media take on that. And
you knew the reality.
The reality where I lived was a completely different ballgame.
The diagnosis, which is obviously tough to deal with. Yeah. Once you came to terms with that, was it then liberating in the sense that you're going, well, okay, this is what I have to deal with. This is my life. I don't know how much of it I've got left, so I'm bloody well going to make the most of it.
Yeah, absolutely. That as far as the travelling is concerned, that's absolutely been the case. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to travel, so I'm going to fit in as many countries as I can before.
And by the way, going to all these different countries and different climates and all that goes with that, did it impact on your condition in any way?
The heat helps.
Really? All right,
okay. To some degree. I mean, when it's 40 degrees plus, it's a bit debilitating, but that's the same for everybody.
And what about medication?
I have a great GP and a terrific Parkinson's nurse, and they help me out if I'm going to a different time zone. about how to regulate medication.
But just on the off chance that, for example, you lost your stuff, or
God forbid.
yeah, I know, or say, for example, that your bags were stolen or something like that.
Well, I mean, I have a couple of stashes. I keep emergency stash with me as well, just in case, until I get something else. Because, I mean, all the countries I go to aren't as bad and as backward as people think. If you have enough money, you can get most things.
Out of all of your experiences so far, Maura, I know you loved Afghanistan, even though your son was not very keen on you going there at all. And he kind of set it all in motion because he encouraged you to go everywhere, and then you said, actually, I'm going to go here, and he was like, Mum, it's not safe, but you went anyway. But out of everywhere you've been and everything that you've done, which for you has kind of been the pinnacle of your travels to date? Because I know you're not finished.
It's almost impossible to say.
Well, you've loved it all.
I've loved it all.
Yeah.
There's nowhere I wouldn't go back to. But equally, there's a lot more countries more to go
So
down.
what's next on the list?
At the moment, I'm just going over to London because my daughter's running a marathon.
Good girl.
At the end of the month. And I'm going to go and support her. And then after that, who knows? I'm Hong Kong. I've never been to Hong Kong.
You'd like to go there?
So Johnny lives in Bangkok when he's not travelling. So I could go to Bangkok and see him. And then nip up to Hong Kong.
Pop up to Hong Kong.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
a good plan.
Now, apart from the travelling, you also did zip lining, you did a skydive, and other kind of, the kind of things that are form the basis of the How 50 Ways to Kill Your Mammy show.
Yeah, well, funny enough, my son probably has thought of a 51st.
So is there one or two, apart from locations, is there one or two madcap things you still need to tick off on your list?
I would quite like to wing walk.
Oh, wow,
Wing
yeah.
Yeah, but you can't do it here in this country. I have to go to England to do it.
Oh, sure, it's only a hop across.
So I'm thinking my 70th birthday, I could do a wing walk.
That
Do you
sounds
not
good.
need to be physically very strong for that because of the aerodynamics and all
sure.
the rest of it?
I presume they're strapped on.
They strap you. I did it here on the show.
Oh, did you?
On a Guerlain plane, and they strap you in, and you're on it. There's a kind of bars, and you are strapped in, but it's quite buffeting.
Oh, well,
Yeah, you get a lot of flies in your mouth. It's quite exhilarating, though.
yes. That was exactly what doing a skydive is like. Brilliant.
Well, look, you are an inspiration, and for anybody else who's looking for inspiration, and that you're never too old or nothing can't be dealt with, just go and check out geriatrictraveler.com.
And Maura, come back to us after your wing walk, will you?
Could I make a quick plug for my daughter?
Of course you
Very
can.
quickly.
She's running for the Parkinson's Trust, and if anybody would like to back her, support her, it's Virgin Giving, and her name is Aisling Gray.
Aisling Gray.
Yes.
G-R-E-Y?
G-R-A-Y.
G-R-A-Y, okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and get your son in because your son has travelled to pretty much every country in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is quite impressive.
4 to go.
4 to go. Wow. Thank you very much, Maura.
Thank you.
Right, well, we know where he gets it from, don't we? We'll take a break now. Join us for more Ireland shortly, including Joe Shannon's latest tasty edition of Meatless Monday.